The couple finishes a cardio session, and the man walks away with clear disappointment. He feels frustrated with Hera and tells her he is hungry and wants dinner fast. Hera feels guilty and believes she let him down, so she decides to cook his favorite meal to make up for it. She prepares vongoli pasta with all her effort and serves it with nervous hope. He eats it and wipes his mouth with cold indifference. He says the dish tastes dry and has no flavor, and he compares it to how he sees her. He says he does not want to live like this anymore and says they should separate. Later, Hera sits alone and cries while fearing that her marriage might end soon. Her phone lights up with a message about a cooking school that promises long-lasting love through proper training. She reads about the bridal training package and thinks about how better cooking might change his mind. She decides to go to the place right away. She enters the building and sees thick smoke in the room. She believes there is a fire and tries to call for help. A handsome instructor stops her and explains that the smoke is only from melting dry ice for his ingredients. He welcomes her to the cooking school. She notices the empty space and thinks she might be the only student. The instructor says the school only offers private one-on-one bridal classes. She thinks about what it means to learn how to be a good partner. He says, the class teaches more than cooking and covers the core essence of being a good partner in one day. She wonders what that essence could be. The instructor asks for her name and age, and she introduces herself as Hera Park, who is 25 years old. He asks what menu she wants to learn. She hesitates and thinks pasta might be difficult. He says pasta is his specialty and lists several styles. She chooses vongoli pasta. He asks for her reason, and she says it is her husband's favorite dish, and that she is bad at cooking. He tells her to stop putting herself down before she even starts because cooking begins with confidence. Hera admits that she always fails to make anything good, and the instructor responds with bold confidence that today will be her first real success. Later, she stands at the kitchen basin, preparing the ingredients, and looks at the clams while thinking they all look closed and lifeless. He leans in and tells her to listen closely as he explains that fresh clams stay tightly shut. He says they react to careless words and that their shells hide soft and rich flavor inside. Hera imagines that soft and rich taste as she listens. He describes the chewy and juicy texture and how it melts on the tongue. Hera wonders if clams can really taste that good. He assures her they do and says they should help the clams relax. He prepares salt water and tells her it will make them feel like they are back in the deep blue sea and that a calm heart leads to an open shell. She hopes they will open, and he says the dish will taste great with her effort. Hera thinks about how she has never received such support before because she has only been scolded for her mistakes. She pours salt into the water with a heavy heart. He notices her long pause and asks if something is wrong. Hera breaks into tears as she explains that her husband told her he wanted to leave her today. She blames herself because she could never make a single plate of vongoli that satisfied him, and he said her food was dry and flavorless. She catches herself and tries to move on as she insists they continue because she must learn fast since her husband is not a patient man. The instructor studies her and says he understands what shaped her doubt. He tells her to forget her husband's harsh words and shows her the clams as they begin to breathe again, now that they are relaxed. He says it is a shame her husband never learned how to support her growth. Hera softly defends her husband and says he still comes to her, but she feels she has been failing him. He asks if she wants to change for him. She answers that she truly wants to become someone better because she loves him deeply. He congratulates her and says she has unlocked the real bridal class, where he will teach her everything he knows to help her become her best self. Hera feels confused because she thought the class had already started. He asks her to think about what her husband really meant when he called her dry and tasteless, and says the core problem will never improve if she hides from it. He reminds her that she said she wanted to change for her husband. Hera realizes this is her chance to improve both her cooking and her life. She gathers her focus and they begin to cook with intense energy and full determination. After a long stretch of practice, Yoon tells Hera that her problem has been solved and says her husband will appreciate her new skill. Hera apologizes and says she ruined the counter instead of cleaning it, but Yoon laughs it off and says she cooked better than ever and that they should eat because she must be tired. They sit down and Hera takes a bite while hoping with all her heart that the food turns out well. She tastes it and feels stunned because the noodles are hot and chewy, and the sauce is rich and full of deep flavor, and both parts blend into a perfect harmony. Yoon tells her not to celebrate too soon and shows her a bottle of wine that he brought out because the dish was too good to eat alone. Hera becomes emotional as she says she never imagined a day like this, and she feels true joy. Yoon feels the same and suggests a toast, and they share food and wine with warm energy. Within 3 hours of arriving at the cooking school, Hera becomes confident enough to return home with real skill. She thanks Yoon as she leaves, and he tells her to take care. Hera turns back and wonders what she should do if the dish loses its taste when she makes it at home. Yoon leans in and gives a quiet tip that boosts her confidence. Hera blushes and wonders if she can try such a thing, but her smile rises as she decides that she can do it. Yoon wishes her good luck and notes how much brighter she has become. Later, she is back home cutting vegetables when her husband walks in and says she should not put in too much effort because he only came for one last meal. Hera thinks that no one knows if this really will be the final day. She tastes her dish and finds it good, but still not perfect, and decides it needs a bit more warmth from the heart. She serves the plate and tells him to try it. He looks at the dish and says it finally looks like real food. Hera feeds him a bite with a soft smile. He thinks he will simply go along with her since it might be their last night, but the moment he tastes it, he feels shock at how amazing it is. Hera tells him to slow down because he is eating too fast, and she hands him wine, and he thanks her while asking for more since the flavor is so good. Hera gladly brings more, and they enjoy the meal with new joy, and soon their home fills with comfort again. Later, a friend named Izzy calls Hera and says she thought Hera was close to ending her marriage. Hera says she would never lie about such a thing and that she cannot explain because her husband is almost home. She tells her friend to check out the cooking school and ends the call. The friend sighs and thinks about how someone out there is enjoying tender moments with her partner while she stands among chickens with no excitement in her life. She decides she has nothing to lose and chooses to give it a try. She calls Yoon and says she heard about Hera's lesson and wants him to come over to teach her some chicken dishes. She sends him the address. Yoon arrives at Izzy's home on a hot summer day and introduces himself as the instructor from the cooking school. Izzy opens the door with a cool expression and invites him inside. Yoon notices how cold her attitude feels and thinks it strangely suits the weather. She says she wants to learn how to make chicken soup. They sit at the dining table, and Izzy asks why he needs her personal information. He explains that he gives personalized lessons and must know his students to teach them properly. He senses how distant she is and tries to lighten the mood by mentioning that he respects teachers since it is not easy working with young students. Izzy cuts him off and says she does not care for empty talk and wants to focus only on the cooking. Yoon finds her attitude sharp and wonders how she maintains relationships like this. He apologizes and asks her to show proof of marriage since the lessons are for married students. Izzy sighs and hands him a damaged photo of herself and her husband. He asks why she chose chicken soup for today. Izzy says her husband has been weak and slow lately, and she wants to make a hearty dish for him, but she begins to insult him with frustration as she talks. She calls him clueless and complains that he cannot take care of himself, and says he does nothing right. Yoon listens quietly and thinks that no one would want to live while hearing such harsh words every day, and that beauty cannot cover such behavior. He decides there will be no lesson today. Izzy becomes upset and says she left work early for this. Yoon tells her that half her words are filled with anger and that she is not ready to learn anything with such a mindset, and he even feels pity for her husband. Izzy becomes even more irritated and claims he is the one who bothered her first and says teaching chicken soup should not be so hard. She complains loudly about her unlucky day, while he stands firm on his decision. Yoon rises from his seat and tells Izzy to think carefully about who truly causes the conflict in her life. He offers her a full refund and prepares to leave. Izzy sits in silence and wonders why people always turn away from her. She calls her words honest, but deep down, she knows she has been harsh. She stops Yoon and tries to justify herself by saying she is strong like a rose with thorns and claims that beautiful women act that way. She clings to him and asks for help again. Yoon asks if that is how she expects someone to assist her. Izzy quickly apologizes and admits she is desperate and emotional. She begs for his guidance. Yoon hands her a paper and tells her to sign it if she agrees to take his lesson properly. Izzy signs it and believes that the chicken soup will be her last chance to fix her marriage. Yoon says she is now officially his student and reminds her that every student must listen to their teacher. Izzy thinks she should not have to obey him since she is the one paying, but Yoon catches her attitude and demands an answer. He tells her to stop wasting time and stand properly. She complains about manners, and he laughs at the idea of hearing that from her. He writes something on the contract and she wonders what he added. He tosses it to her and says she should only give effort to people who deserve it. He tells her to follow his instructions so she can learn correctly. She hesitates, but the agreement leaves her no choice. She follows his guidance, and he corrects her posture and attitude with firm direction. After that, he tells her to take out the ingredients for the lesson. Izzy stands up and thinks she will report him once she learns the recipe. Yoon hears her muttering and simply continues. She starts searching for the chicken, and he observes how well kept her kitchen is. He finds it strange because her space looks neat and skillfully arranged. He realizes she is not as clueless as she pretends. Izzy finds the chicken and demands instructions, claiming she has no idea what to do. Yoon calmly tells her to stop pretending. He explains that her kitchen reveals real experience and that she already knows how to make chicken soup without any help. He says she is a skilled home cook who has been hiding the truth. Izzy admits she already knows how to cook and says she only called Yoon because she wants to become even better. Yoon tells her to be honest or he will make her open up in his own way. Izzy hesitates, then confesses that her husband loves chickens more than anything. She says he runs outside whenever they make noise, and he even interrupts important moments just to take care of them. She remembers how angry she became and how she threatened to leave him over his obsession. She regrets it deeply and wishes she could take the words back. She believes the only way to earn his forgiveness is to make the best chicken soup he has ever tasted. She begs Yoon to teach her properly. Yoon reacts with disbelief and calls her trouble, but Izzy insists that she truly feels sorry and reminds him that she is his student now, and he cannot take it back. Yoon sighs and says they are stuck with the contract, so there is no choice. He tells her the only way to fix this is by cooking a perfect dish. He asks if she is ready to give it everything. Izzy says she will do anything if it means her husband will forgive her. Yoon says there is no time to waste and tells her to begin by preparing the chicken correctly. He instructs her to spread the legs, and she says she already knows that part, showing her experience. With that, they start an intense cooking session, both focused and determined to make a dish that can mend a mistake and bring back peace to her home. After a long burst of effort, Izzy says she can barely move and asks if they are finally done. Yoon tells her she worked well and asks her to taste the soup. She grows worried and wonders if something went wrong, then sees a dark and messy pot. The chicken looks burned and she begins to panic, saying nobody could eat something that looks so terrible. She cries that she followed every instruction and now her husband will never forgive her. Yoon tells her she is blaming others again and says she should try it before judging. She hesitates, disgusted by the look, but remembers how hard they worked and forces herself to take a spoonful. The taste surprises her as the broth feels warm and rich, filled with flavor and energy. She feels like she could run straight into her husband's arms. Yoon tells her the soup is good because she poured her real feelings into it. Izzy agrees, but worries her husband might refuse to eat it because of its rough appearance. Yoon asks what she wished for while cooking. Izzy says she wanted her husband to grow stronger and forgive her. Yoon tells her the soup carries those feelings and that she should make it look like a loving gift. He encourages her to decorate it with care like she is wrapping a present. Izzy understands that the dish needs to feel special both in taste and presentation. They begin plating, and she turns the rough dish into something inviting and thoughtful. With that, she completes the course, and her attitude softens into something kinder and hopeful. Later, she thanks Yoon at the door and worries if her husband will like the surprise. Yoon assures her she looks wonderful and notices a chicken called Cuckoo alive in the home, realizing the husband must mean a lot to her. That evening, her husband comes home tired and greeted only by the chicken. He finds a covered dish on the table and lifts the towel. Inside is a careful arrangement of food that looks expensive and thoughtful. He feels shocked by his luck and notices a small hidden note asking him to go to the bedroom when he finishes eating. Meanwhile, Izzy waits nervously in the other room, hoping her plan works. Her husband enters, full of surprise and warmth from the meal. The two quietly share the moment and their tension fades. They sit together and start eating the food intensely she made. And for the first time in a long while, their home feels at peace again. The next morning, Yoon opens the doors of the cooking school with bright energy and prepares for a new day. He notices someone already inside and finds a blonde girl asleep on the sofa. He approaches and tries to wake her, worried that she is not moving at all. When he lifts her gently, she mumbles only one word: bread. A little later, she wakes up and drinks water as if it were a luxury drink. Yoon tells her she fainted from dehydration and asks what happened. She introduces herself as Sally and explains that she has spent days without eating or drinking properly because she is desperate to stay thin. She says her fiancé misses how she used to look when she was chubby and full of life. She believes he might end their wedding because she changed too much for her diet. Sally cries that she cannot live without him and begs for help. Yoon listens and says she must have pushed him too far by denying herself food. She asks him if she looks fat. Yoon refuses to answer until she explains why she said bread earlier. Sally tells him that she and her fiancé were once known as the main couple in a bread club and that he loved sausage rolls more than anything. She thinks if she makes his favorite recipe, he might forgive her. Yoon says she is not even as thin as she thinks, and Sally panics again. She says she wants to look light enough to be carried away by wind. Yoon calls that selfish and says if she really blew away like that, her fiancé would return home after work to nothing but an empty space. He says she is supposed to be the one who feels like home to him, a place he can run to with joy. Sally thinks about it and realizes how important that role is. Yoon decides he needs to see her real ability and tells her to excuse him as he prepares the ingredients. He invites her to bake the best sausage rolls together. Sally wonders if she can do it, and Yoon confidently says she can. She gathers hope and tells herself she will make the best sausage rolls in the world for the one she loves. Yoon watches her determination and thinks today he will show her the strength she was born with. They begin the baking lesson side by side, ready to create something that might save her relationship. Yoon begins the lesson by telling Sally to sift the flour into the bowl. She follows his instructions with excitement and says she has never made bread before, but finds it fun and thinks she is doing well. After 30 minutes of work, Yoon warns her not to let the dough get warm and tells her to finish kneading while it is still cold. She pushes through even as her arms start to ache. Her hands feel cold from the dough, but her body sweats from the effort. A drop of sweat lands in the dough and she apologizes nervously. Yoon watches her and notices how tired she looks and how her pace is slowing, but he sees that she is sincerely trying. He tells her it is fine since the dough belongs to her, and she keeps going with determination. She thinks about her back pain, but refuses to stop because she wants to do this for her fiancé. Yoon tells her she did well and asks if she is ready for the real lesson. Sally eagerly agrees. He prepares to teach her how to handle the dough properly and says she will understand once she feels the texture with care. He asks her to focus on the way he works with the 2 lumps of dough in his hands. Sally reminds herself that she needs to stay focused because this sausage roll could save her relationship. She tells him she is ready and wants him to show her the best way to make it taste amazing. Yoon smirks at her confidence and asks what type of sausage pastry they will make today. He lists different styles, like placing the sausage on top, spreading it across the dough, or tucking it neatly inside. Sally pauses to think and finds the choice strangely exciting. She takes longer than expected and calls it a happy problem, even though she struggles to decide. Yoon asks if she understands how to knead the dough yet. Sally admits she is not confident. He tells her to slow down, treat the dough gently, and work with care. He tells her to add 2 pinches of salt, and she follows his direction closely. She thinks he explains everything with detail and realizes she would not understand any of this without him. They add butter and use the water that gathered from earlier to keep the dough smooth before rolling it out. Sally responds cheerfully and continues working harder, shaping the dough with full effort. Yoon watches and sees that she is focused and motivated. He praises her and says she already looks prepared for the real lesson. He is impressed by her dedication and thinks she is a rare kind of student. Sally asks what she should do next and waits for his guidance. He tells her it is time to cook the sausage and asks if she likes them. She says she loves them so much she has to control herself and remembers that her love for food caused arguments with her fiancé. Yoon tells her not to worry, because the 2 of them will make up once she learns how to cook them properly. He says he will teach her the best way to bring out their flavor and asks her to close her eyes for a moment. She does so with excitement, believing she is about to learn a secret technique. Together they begin an intense cooking session, working with focus and care, shaping dough and preparing sausage rolls that might carry more meaning than just bread. Yoon tells Sally that they will place the sausages on top of the dough she worked so hard on and bake everything together in the oven. She nervously hopes they do not ruin it, and Yoon assures her that he will not waste such good ingredients. He tells her to look forward to the final result, because their sausage rolls will turn out delicious. After a bit of waiting, Yoon checks the oven and wonders how warm it has become. He realizes it is still not hot enough and says her oven warms slowly but stays hot for a long time. Since there is dough left, he suggests they make one more item while they wait. Sally decides she wants to make something with cream. Yoon is surprised at the idea of cream puffs and compares her to one, saying she is round, cute, and filled with sweetness. He tells her to roll the dough into small balls, and she begins before he even finishes speaking. He thinks she truly is an excellent student and decides to help with the parts she cannot reach. She thanks him and trusts him with the task. A warm smell fills the room as the pastries bake. Yoon asks if she wants to see how they turned out and brings them out proudly. Sally is amazed that she made them herself and can hardly believe it. Yoon claims it is thanks to his help and encourages her to try them. Sally tastes the sausage roll and immediately complains, saying it is nothing like she expected. Yoon jokes that it is fluffy, but she refuses to accept it without cream and compares it to herself without her fiancé. Yoon tells her to calm down and reminds her that they are not finished yet. He says they still need to fill the little pastries, a piping bag prepared with cream just for her. Sally brightens again and they begin an intense session of filling the cream puffs, turning their work into something soft and sweet. Sally feels renewed and thinks the old version of herself is gone as she now feels soft, confident, and full of sweetness again. Yoon congratulates her and tells her that her lesson has come to an end. She thanks him warmly and leaves the school with pride. Yoon reflects on how she arrived full of self-hate, yet after baking with him, she is now returning home filled with affection and confidence. Sally runs through the street holding the pastries close. She calls out in her mind for her fiancé to wait and almost drops the snacks but saves them just in time. She promises herself to be careful and rushes toward home with excitement. Near midnight, her fiancé waits anxiously and worries because she does not answer her phone. He fears she went too far with her diet and might even be missing. Suddenly, Sally bursts into the room with a smile and presents her pastries like a heartfelt gift. She says the cold was nothing once she saw him again and explains that she walked home slowly just to protect the bread. Her fiancé is stunned that she worked so hard to bake something for him. She laughs and urges him to try it. He feels unsure if he deserves it, but asks if he can take a bite. Sally happily agrees, and they share the food together, letting their misunderstandings fade away. Their relationship becomes warm again as they return to caring for each other. Yoon narrates that he has taught many brides how to cook and always put his heart into helping them fix their love. Seeing them grow and protect their relationships became a source of pride for him. Word spread, and soon his cooking school filled with students waiting for help. He believes he will make many more homes happy. His phone vibrates with a message from Izzy. She happily tells him she is enjoying a second honeymoon phase with her husband. She says they now cook together all the time and that their days are filled with passion and comfort. She thanks him for helping her change and says their life feels full again. Yoon reads her message and remembers how difficult she was at first, feeling amused but also satisfied that his lesson reached her heart. Yoon feels proud that his work has helped so many women repair their relationships, yet something inside him tells him there is still more he could do. He wonders what he has missed. A new customer steps in and asks if she can take a class even though she is divorced. She wants help getting closer to a man she likes, and she says he loves spicy rice cakes. Yoon learns she has been married once before and suddenly understands what has been missing from his school. He realizes that there are women who are searching for love again, not just trying to save a marriage. He welcomes her and decides to open a new kind of lesson just for people like her. She shows him fresh red peppers that she grew herself and asks if they can use them. Yoon is impressed by their bright color and clean shine. He asks how she managed to grow them so well. She explains that she spent many lonely years after her divorce, and every night she cared for her rooftop garden under the moon. She raised the peppers with patience and affection. She says that the garden became a place where she poured all her feelings, and it helped her fill the empty space in her life. Yoon is surprised by her dedication and believes that anything made with this much care will taste wonderful. They begin the lesson by grinding the peppers into a fine powder. They mix it with seasoning and sticky rice to form a thick paste, creating a sauce that is both hot and sweet. She can taste how the flavors blend as she mixes it, and she finds it intense but satisfying. After cooking the rice cakes and coating them with the sauce, they finish a simple but powerful dish. The woman tries it and feels shocked by how bold it tastes. The spice is strong, yet refreshing, and she proudly says she finally feels like a woman who has worth. Yoon tells her that every woman can offer something wonderful, and what matters is how she chooses to share herself with others. She thanks him sincerely, saying he helped her regain confidence. Yoon is pleased and sees a new purpose in helping not just brides, but anyone searching for love. He reflects that every person carries a different flavor, whether bitter, sour, salty, or sweet. To anyone who wants to bring out that flavor with heart, he welcomes them to his school. He promises to continue teaching people how to love and support someone through the food they create, as long as he can.